Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we're going to turn NotebookLM, now called Gemini Notebook, into a help desk or support area. Assuming that you do know how to upload source documents to NotebookLM by going to Add Sources, these are all going to be your sources, and they're all going to be an indication of how you do business. So if you have videos and websites, you can upload them here in this section. If you have files from your hard drive, you can upload them from this button. You can also upload documents from your Google Drive. Now, the benefit of uploading documents from your Google Drive is that your documents will automatically sync. So if you add a document and you make changes, you will then be able to have those changes reflected in your help desk that you're creating with NotebookLM, now called Gemini Notebook. Depending on your level of account, you can add up to 600 documents, a level of 300 documents, or 50 documents to your source area. Now, the most important part of the process is going to be configuring your notebook. You will notice that you will have a default setting. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to customize your chat. Now, we need help from Gemini in order to customize our chat in a way that's going to be helpful to the individuals that are going to be using the notebook as a help desk. To do that, we can get help from Gemini. Now, we can do this in one or two ways. What we can do here is we can go inside of the notebook, but the better way to do it in this case is to attach the notebook to a specific conversation. And what we're going to do here is we're going to attach the notebook. We're then going to click on the notebook that we want to add here. What we want Gemini to do is to give us the custom instructions in order to place inside of our notebook so the individual will then know how to use the platform. What you want to do first is you want to outline a process in a prompt to determine how you think the help process should go. And so what we want the individual to do is to come to the notebook, type in their request. If their request can't be answered, to then be given a support email address and then to start the cycle over again. However, we do want to know if we are missing something from this process. And we want to give the AI an opportunity to assist us in building up this prompt before we go to NotebookLM. So we're going to say to the AI before we request the prompt for the notebook configuration, we want to know what else we can do to provide a good customer experience with this help desk. We're going to take this prompt now and we're going to place it in Gemini. And when we do that, we're going to make sure that we're using the highest level of prompt that we can possibly use for our level of account. Now, Gemini will give you suggestions when you ask a question as to how to improve the experience that you want to provide. In most cases, you will then take Gemini's suggestions. And what you'll want to do then is you'll want to ask Gemini to generate your configuration for the notebook. Now, it's a good idea to go to the configure notebook to open up the custom setting and then to take a screenshot so that Gemini will know exactly what you were talking about. There are times when the AI will forget about this area. So we want to make sure that Gemini knows exactly what we are talking about. What we're going to do here is we're going to upload our screenshot. We're then going to answer Gemini and say, yes, we want all elements incorporated into our system instructions for our notebook. We'll then submit our answer, which is yes. We're now going to copy these instructions and we're going to place them inside of our notebook. So we will now go to the configuration. We will click on custom configuration. We will then paste in our custom configuration. We will then save our new instructions. What we will now do is we will refresh our notebook. So one thing that you're going to notice is that there's not yet an interaction here that the customer will actually know exactly what to do. So we'll need to customize this area, and we can do that in the customization area and set a custom notebook summary. But we are going to need help from Gemini in order to do that. So we're going to head back to Gemini to get the customization. So we're going to state that we want Gemini to provide notebook customizations that accompany these rules. So what we want the AI to do is to create the prompt in Markdown. We want to see that those instructions will be highlighted. There will be some contrast and the look is going to be professional. So we'll then click submit in order to get the customization for the notebook. Once we paste in Markdown, you should see contrast, and that is really what we want. What we want is for the individual using our help desk to always see these instructions when they log in. And so we will then test our response. So what you want to do is you want to ask a question that you know is not within your help documents. And so that is what we did. We asked a question that we know is not going to be in our help documents. We want to make sure that what's happening is that the help desk is going to redirect that individual to then write the support desk. Now we ask a question that we know is inside the help documents. When the advice is in our source documents and the individual asks a question, you'll see that the AI here will answer based on our sources. The sharing options will depend on how you want to share the document. In most cases, what you will do is you will make the notebook access public. You will then save your sharing. Once you've saved your sharing, you will open it back up and you will get the link to copy to chat view so that individuals will then get access to your help desk. When you give them that access, they will not have access to the sources. They will not have access to your studio assets. They will get to the page and they will have the chat available to them and they will then have access to your help desk. You will notice that this notebook already has studio assets. So you'll see here that there's an infographic, a mind map, and there's already a PowerPoint presentation. And if you change your sharing options, if you click on the share button and you just copy the link and you don't copy the copy link to chat view, what the individual is going to be able to see are the studio assets and then your source documents here in this area. Now, if it makes sense for your customer to see the source documents and they already know that information, and all you're really doing on the right side is providing a studio explanation in video form or in audio form, then what you can do is you can just copy the link instead of copy the chat view only link. And when you copy this link, the individual is then going to be able to see your studio assets and then the sources. So an individual that now gets access to this notebook, they'll still have the chat area where they will interact with your help desk, but they'll also then have access to the studio assets that you create for them on the right side menu. So as you add studio assets on the right side, what you'll need is a process in order to get the support desk to refer that document to an individual under certain circumstances. And so the work that you'll have to do when you create a studio asset is to assign it to a specific source subject. One of the ways that we can make that easy is to rename this element. So for example, we can go into this infographic and we can rename it. And what we can do is we can then make it so that this infographic is associated with all of the elements that are associated with a specific numbering convention. And so you'll see a numbering convention here. It matches the numbering convention of your sources. And so what we'll do here is we will click enter. That will then change the naming of this particular source asset. What that does, that makes it easy for us then to go back and reconfigure our notebook. It also makes it easy for us to change any of our highlights. What we're going to do is we're going to screenshot our new asset. We're going to go back now to Gemini. We want to go back to the same conversation that we have been using. And what we want to do is we want to add in now our screenshot. What we want to do is we want to write in plain language. So you're going to put in plain language what's going to happen, depending on how you make your arrangement. What we're saying to the AI here is that when a source 001 is used in the explanation from the help desk can also refer to additional help in the studio assets. We have then said that the pattern can follow in all of the other studio assets and sources. What we now want to do is make sure the AI has the right understanding. So we're going to write in the last statement for the AI to explain its understanding of what it is that we're trying to do in this prompt. We'll then click submit. So the AI explains what it thinks we are trying to get it to do, and that explanation is correct. We've also asked for the AI to give examples to make sure that we can see that it understands what it is we're trying to do. And indeed, example 1 is an indication of what we want. So a source that is used that is 0030 also should refer to any studio assets also labeled 00030. And then we can do the same with all of the other information. So we are going to go into our notebook configuration, we're going to go into the Custom tab. We're going to click Control All. We're then going to copy it. It's probably a good idea at this point that we take these custom instructions and we place them inside of a Google Doc. We are also going to go into our customized settings. We're then going to copy all of the information in our welcome note. We're going to copy it and we're going to put it into a separate Google Doc. So what we're now going to do is we're going to attach those two documents to this conversation. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask now for Gemini to rewrite those custom instructions inside of those documents. And we're also going to ask for Gemini to design an example so that the system can be tested. We're going to test it with source and studio asset 0001. We're going to allow Gemini to create the prompt. So as you can see, we now have two new documents. We now have new custom instructions. We now have a new welcome note. So what we're going to do now is we're going to copy these documents to NotebookLM, now called Gemini Notebook. We're going to click on the custom instructions. We're going to click Control All. We're going to copy it. We're now going to head to NotebookLM, now called Gemini Notebook. And we're going to go to the Configure Notebook tab. We're going to go to the Custom area. We're going to click Control All. We're then going to click Control V to add in the information. We're then going to click Save. And now our information is now added. We're now going to go back to Google Docs. We're going to now go to the new welcome note. We're going to copy this information. We're going to click Control All. We're going to copy it. We're then going to head back to NotebookLM. We're going to click Customize. We're then going to go to the Help Desk. We will then click Control A or Control All. We'll then click Control V to paste in all the information. We will then click Done. Now, because we put this in a doc format, it really did not give us the formatting that we want. So we're going to go back to Gemini. Now we're just going to paste in the content. And we will ask then for Gemini to put this into Markdown. So we'll now copy the new code. We'll then head back to the notebook. We'll then customize again. We'll then click Control All. We'll then paste in the new information, then click Done. And now our help desk appears the way we want it to appear. Now before that, we want to scroll back up to the query that will then give us an indication as to whether or not this is going to be working. And so we're going to copy this question because that's what we're going to ask after the trigger. And what we want to see is whether the system is going to refer us to the help document. So again, we have one help document. So what we want to do is we want to start with the trigger. And we're going to type in hello. And then what we want the notebook to do is to put us into the chatting system. What we're now going to do is we're going to ask a specific question. And we're then going to click enter. And now the help desk does what we want. What you'll notice here is that it says that the individual should refer to the studio assets labeled 001. And so we have our naming convention. Now it's important to note that the reason that this system works is because the source documents also have a numbering convention. We can match that numbering convention with the studio assets. So if you start with a logical set of numbered sources, it'll be easy then to add help documents as you go. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.